Tory leadership candidate, of course, Shadow Security Minister. It's good to see you, Mr. Tugendhat. Do you support Israel's incursion into Lebanon?
Good morning, Kay. Well, look, I lived in Lebanon for 2 years in the late 90s, and one of the things I'm struck by is the concern I and many have for Lebanese civilians at this moment. You know, Lebanese Hezbollah has been a vile terrorist organisation that has quite literally trafficked children and drugs for many, many years. In fact, it's one of the world's biggest drug dealing networks and is a vile and evil organisation. But at the same time, there are many civilians who live in and around these areas, and it's extremely worrying. Now, I support absolutely Israel's right to self-defence, and I'm afraid I don't know the details of these operations. As Michael quite rightly put it, we don't know exactly the targets. And so depending on what Israel's doing, we need to be very clear that they need to be targeting the military targets that we know are in the area, and I'm sure that they'll be working to make sure that they protect their own people from this organisation as well.
So you're supporting them with conditions?
I can't give unqualified support, and I don't think it would be right to. What I'm supporting Israel is the right to self-defence and to protect itself from the rockets that have been fired from positions by Lebanese Hezbollah inside Lebanon. Now, this is a terrorist organisation that has effectively taken over a state, and we need to recognise that those rockets have been raining down on schools, on playgroups, on nurseries, on hospitals inside Israel. And seriously, Kay, would you or I argue that if such things were happening in the UK, we wouldn't take on the targets? You know, we wouldn't stop those rockets falling? Of course we would. We'd do everything we could to protect the British people. And so I respect what Israel is trying to do. And I'm just hoping and praying that Lebanese civilians are protected and are safe.
As a former military man, do you agree with Robert Jenrick that the SAS kill rather than capture terrorists because otherwise, under EU law, they'd be freed?
No, I don't. I think what he said is wrong, and I'm afraid demonstrates a fundamental misunderstanding of military operations and the law of armed conflict. I'm extremely concerned that such words should not be seen in any way to encourage people to take any action other than to surrender to British forces when asked to do so. This is, look, I think he's wrong and demonstrates a fundamental lack of understanding.
Would you wear a sweatshirt that says Hamas are terrorists at party conference?
I mean, I wouldn't, but I support the sentiment. It's true, Hamas are terrorists. They're a proscribed terrorist organisation, and anybody supporting them in the UK is committing a criminal offence.
Do you think the Star of David should be displayed at all ports of entry to the UK, as suggested by Robert Jenrick?
I'm not quite sure why it would be, but I have no problem with seeing the Star of David and the Israeli flag wherever it's appropriate to fly it. I'm a proud friend of many, many Israelis. I have a lot of friends in that country and visit often.
And is it an appropriate place to do that at all ports of entry to the UK?
Well, this is the United Kingdom. I want to see the UK flag at every port of entry. I know what our flag flies for. I fought for our flag. I stood for our flag. The values that it stands for are the values that I'm fighting to defend, and the leadership I'm trying to offer is to this amazing country that we're privileged to call home. I'm proud to be British. I want to see the British flag everywhere. Your views on maternity pay? I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Your views on maternity pay?
Well, look, I think that it's, I think we need to be supporting women's places in the work, and we need to be supporting parents to be able to get back to work. This is a simple question of productivity. If you want to have a productive workforce, you need to support them at moments when life is a little trickier. And frankly, to any of us who've got kids, and you know, I've got two small kids, 10 and 7 now, I can tell you those early years are really, really tough. And going through that, you know, period without any support would be really, really difficult. So I'm afraid I support maternity pay, and I support the right of women to make sure that they have the opportunity to work and to balance that with childcare.
Reading your answers to winter fuel allowance and whether you support that, you're not quite as straightforward.
Well, the thing is, I wouldn't have taken it away, but I'm not willing to write a budget for 4 years' time. I just don't think that's honest, Kay. And so, while I would not have taken it away now, I can't predict where the budget's going to be in 4 years' time. But what I will say is I have always voted for decisions and policies that support pensioners. That's why I supported the triple lock. That's why I supported the triple lock plus. And I will always make decisions that care for our elderly and most vulnerable in our society. Now, that at the moment would have been not stripping away the winter fuel payments as Labour has done, because all they've done is taken the money away to give it to their union paymasters. Frankly, that's not honest. It's not being straight with the British people, and Keir Starmer is being absolutely two-faced on it.
You're committed to a legally binding net migration cap of 100,000 people. How rigorously would you stick to that?
Well, look, we've got to stick to it. We've got to make sure that we get back to a high-wage, low-migration economy. And I'm absolutely committed to it. And what Labour have done by stripping away the deterrent is to remove the protection on our borders to stop that deterrent that has been so important to helping to begin that process and bringing numbers down. And we need to go further. We need to make sure we're changing the economy. We need to be connecting people so people can get to work. We need to be lifting the cap on apprenticeships so people can get the skills that they need for work. And we need to be supporting young people in their opportunity to find homes so they can actually build a future in our country. All of those are all about making sure we are training our own, we are supporting our own, and that's what will bring down migration.
OK, so if a family of 4 tip up at one of our borders and we've only got place for 1 more, you turn the other 3 away. I know it's not as simplistic as that, but you get the point.
Okay, that's not quite the point, because the net migration cap is for legal migration. Illegal migration should already be stopped. So no family of 4 is going to be arriving at the border because they'll have visas anyway. So we'll already know. The net migration cap is about legal migration with visas, not about illegal migration.
I understand
illegal
that.
migration needs to be dealt
I said it was a
I know you do. I'm just being clear.
point, but you get my point. My point is, if they're at home in Canada and they want to come to the UK, we're only going to take 1 of them. Let's use that example then.
Well, a visa wouldn't be issued for all 4, that's correct. And so what you'd need to do is you'd need to make sure that what you're doing is you're supporting groups that come as groups.
OK. Robert Jenrick has said that he believes the English identity is fraying. What do you think that means?
I'm afraid you'll have to ask Rob.
Do you agree?
I couldn't tell you. I don't understand the sentiment, frankly. You know, I'm very proud to be English. I'm very proud to be British. I'm hugely proud to have campaigned and to have fought elections alongside people in Scotland, England, Wales and Northern Ireland. I'm hugely proud to have worked on child protection with Tony's Law, which you have very kindly reported on, protecting children across the whole of the United Kingdom. You know, I'm very proud of the actions that we've taken as the whole of the UK, and I'm proud to be from Kent as well.
What's in your goodie bag?
Well, there's quite a lot. I have to say, this is something that I've discovered since I got here. There's various things. There's sort of things like this cup and books and badges and some M&Ms, which is, well, it's a bit of a pick-me-up for the morning anyway. Yeah,
I don't understand the fake tan, though. What's all that about?
I don't know. I'm afraid the team thought it was a good idea that because everybody's indoors under these lights that we're under, and so they've all made jokes about my name. When you've got a name like mine, you've got to expect some jokes, and so they've come up with the name Tugendhat, and so that's where I'm afraid I think they're ribbing me as much as they're doing anything else.
Well, let me tell you, there's one of your goodie bags here, and there's lots of the stuff that was in it still in. The only one that was missing was the fake tan. So whoever thought that up was obviously very smart.
Oh, OK. Well, there you go. You didn't need it, you see. You're glowing already. There you go. That's why.
Very good. Thank you. Enjoy the speech. Come and talk to us anytime you like. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. It's nice to see you.
You too. Take care. Thanks a lot.